What's up, guys? NJ Slot Guy here with SlotFans.com. But not only am I with SlotsFan.com right now, but I am with the legend himself, Cowboy Slots. Cowboy, thank you so much for joining me today, my friend.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
I really appreciate it. Now, what the people don't realize is what just happened for the last 30 minutes while we were setting this up. And Brantley
Oh
was
man.
playing a practical joke on me, and I had to
Uh,
restart my computer 6 times. I used 8 different platforms. It's just a ton of fun here, you know.
yeah, and it was on my end the whole
So
time.
thank you.
Well, here's the thing. It actually was the previous program because there wasn't a setting to correct it. So
Right.
moved to another program and there's a setting to correct it. So it was a mix.
Yeah, but it was fun nonetheless, and it brings comedy into our scene
Yeah,
here.
we had fun.
So I'm pretty sure, as far as all my interviews have gone, you are in fact the most popular as far as numbers go, Brantley. What are your current numbers at on all your platforms?
So right now we actually just crossed 304,000 on YouTube. Actually last night. So 304,000 on YouTube. We also have about 100 and close to 170,000 on Facebook, and then we actually have a bigger following on TikTok. I believe like 180, 190,000 on TikTok, and then we also have, which is something that nobody else really has. Everybody usually has a website, but we took it a step further and we actually have our own in-house social platform on our website where users can come and they can create a profile and they can actually talk to and chat with other people in their state, other people around the world. They can ask questions, they can do all of this, and they can do it all for free. We even have some game makers and some casinos that are a participant of that. So even people can message game makers directly on the website, and that's got about 20,000 users now. So there's a lot more just outside of the YouTube realm that we do, but as for current numbers, that's kind of where they stand.
I mean, that's unbelievable, man. So let's just call it like 500,000, probably over that after all that math, because I'm used to the casino. I'm just used to breaking down denominations now with certain major jackpots and minor wins. So simple
Right?
math now isn't so simple anymore. But that's well over, 500,000 followers, which is crazy, Brantley, because now we can get into the story of how Cowboy started because I've been there for this entire ride, man. Like I
You
said, I
have.
will I will always remember that first phone call. Do you remember that first phone call by any
I
chance on
I
top of your head?
do remember it, and it's crazy to look back. I think the biggest thing that's crazier is not just the numbers of Cowboy slots, but the length of time. So we have not even celebrated our third year anniversary yet. Our third year anniversary is going to be in February. So when we look across all platforms and how quickly it's grown, it's insane to think that it's 500,000 people combined aggregate between all platforms in less than 3 years, which is pretty insane. But I do remember that
Insane.
first phone call when it started, and it was crazy. I mean, just the story of how Cowboy Slots got started was crazy, and we're still, you know, we are still the only channel that actually has a casino employee that has held the badge, that has done the job. I've been in these secret rooms and not just working for the casinos, but I've also worked in other aspects of the industry as well. So we're still leading in that category, which is something crazy as well.
I can't and tell us how it started. Tell us how it all started because it started and it went extremely quick, apparently. Extremely quick. I
It,
couldn't believe it. You
it
were
did.
updating me once every couple of weeks and the numbers were absolutely insane. So tell us how you started, man. What made it happen?
How it got started was I had just moved to Wyoming and really wasn't sure about what to do. And I'm setting up because I still had all these machines and stuff like that because I used to own my business with slots. And one day I was sitting in the living room and I was bored and I was like, I was remembering, I was trying to look something up, and I was like a certain hit combination of a slot machine, and I was trying to look it up, and the first video that I ever clicked on that I ever saw was from Stacy's High Limit Slots.
All right.
And I did not even know at the time. I had no clue about, I mean, I knew YouTube existed, obviously, and I've
Of
used it a
course.
couple times, but I never knew just the dynamic of it. Like I never knew, I didn't set out to create a YouTube channel. So I knew nothing about monetization. I knew nothing about video creation. I didn't know anything about that. And I clicked on this video and I was watching it. And I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. And then I clicked on one of your videos. Believe it or not, you and Stacy were the first people that ever popped up in the algorithm for me when I was searching for something completely unrelated. I mean, still slot related, but completely unrelated to the actual entertainment aspect. And I reached out to Stacy and I sent Stacy a message because she had said something in one of her videos. I mean, it's been years ago now. She said something in one of her videos, and I sent her messages and I was like, hey, did you know that, this is about, I forget what machine it was about, but it was a fact about the machine that she was playing. And she's like, oh, I didn't know that. And then I asked her, I said, you think I could put together a video about just some random facts about machines that people didn't know? And she's like, yeah, I think that'd be cool. So one day, I mean, dude, I did not know anything. I didn't have mics. I didn't have lights. I didn't have like a good camera or anything. I didn't know how to edit. I didn't know anything about that aspect whatsoever. I had my phone and I just recorded a video and I was like, it wasn't edited at all. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, now this, like it was a crappy video. Quality was bad. Everything was bad. And I put it on YouTube. I didn't even have like a designated channel at the time. It was just like under like a personal page that I just randomly created. And I put it on YouTube and it was like 2 mornings later, I woke up and it had like 10,000 views. And I was like, people like this stuff? Like people are
Nuts.
interested in this stuff? Like I didn't
Yeah.
know. And then I did research and I looked and I'm like, there is no one on YouTube that is an actual casino employee. And when I say actual casino employee, like you've done the job.
Right.
Like you have gone through the process to get your gaming license, get your badge, and actually perform the job in a real world setting. There was nobody on YouTube at the time. I'd seen some people that were, there were some channels out there that they would guess. They got it wrong, but they would guess.
Right.
They're like, well, I've been playing slots for 20 years, and this is what I think.
That's what makes
Well,
me
you're
an
wrong.
expert. Yeah. That's what makes me an
like,
expert, right?
and that's the danger. We can get into that later, but
We will.
there's a lot of aspects to the casino industry that people just do not understand. And that's when I realized, I was like, okay. So it was like 2 weeks later, I get an email from YouTube and they're like, you qualify for monetization. And I didn't know what that was. So I messaged Stacy and I was like, what does this mean? And she's like, oh, that's really good. And stuff like that. So like I completely started from zero on YouTube, on the YouTube scale. And I had to learn as I went along. But the biggest challenge was the fact that Cowboy Slots grew so fast that I was having to learn literally on the fly. So we were we were at like 50,000 subscribers in less than 6 months.
Yeah, crazy.
And people, like, I had to learn about audio. I had to learn about lighting, about better quality video. And, we're still learning. But at this point, now we have 6 employees. But, we're still learning to adapt and go along and all these things. But I had to learn instantaneously on the fly. So that's kind of how Cowboy Slots got started. But going back to what you were saying about the phone call, I remember that call because I called you and I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like, I'm getting to talk to this guy directly. Like, this is so cool. And I was like, and then you were like, I'm a big fan of you. And I'm like, really? Like, I didn't know. Like, it's crazy to me because I see a lot of people they'll come to me and they'll ask in the comments. They're like, I'm trying my hardest to start a YouTube channel. Like, I'm trying, I'm doing this and this and this. I didn't even try. I didn't know what the hell I was doing at the time. You have to, before you set out to create a channel, you have to have the passion and the know-how to do it, for like, to, in your mind, to on the subject matter. The YouTube part can come later, but on the subject matter, you have to have the passion for it to really make it a success. And I think that really is kind of what showed through Cowboy Slots. And we've gone through a lot of metamorphosis since then. I mean, we're offering tons of different content for everybody because I wanted Cowboy Slots to be more of an umbrella program. We're not a one-trick pony. so to
That's
speak, you
right.
know. So we didn't want to just do one thing. I know a lot of people will set out and I'll watch videos and it's like the entire channel is one thing. And I didn't want to do that. So now we're like, one day we might come out with something of, we're going to work with $20. And the very next day we could be working with 20,000. It's all over the board. It's something for everybody. And I think that's more fun, to be honest. So it's crazy how it's developed into what it is today.
It really is, man. And that's why I was in your algorithm, is because of those machines right there behind you.
Yeah. All the classics.
Look at them. That's it, man. Too bad. And again, another thing I'll bring up down the road because they're pulling these things left and right. Hey, slots fans! I want to take this quick moment to remind you guys about SlotsFan.com, the only website that is dedicated to people who love watching slots. There are over 250 streamers ranked amongst the community, in-depth biographies, interviews, big win stories, casino reviews, and more. So guys, make sure you are going and checking out slotsfan.com. Click the link in the description below, bookmark the site, because there is new content coming out every single day. Thanks again, slots fans. So Brantley, as Cowboy Slots, like you said, and I remember talking to you about this, going, I'm a fan of yours too, man. Like, you have something here I haven't seen yet. Like, you're going to be this person. You will be the foundation of what you're starting. You went a whole new avenue. And not only, like a lot of people say, you've helped me this, you've helped me that. And then you bring you into the mix, who's actually giving people, I mean, factual advice top to bottom, right? Like, you're not telling people, oh, all you got to do is play this high limit machine. And meanwhile, you took 10 videos of it, but you only share the one. Like, you're actually giving people factual things on stuff we couldn't have imagined have branched off. So if these slot channels never existed, Stacy never popped into your algorithm, if I never popped into your algorithm, would you even be doing this? Because of how slots, you know what I mean, threw you into this. And then maybe you would have been the first creator to ever start something as far as slots go. Like, it's crazy, man. It's a crazy thing to think about, but it's the
Yeah.
truth, Brantley, because you have such a separate gig. And you know what's awesome is, and your audience will love it too, is you could sit in front of a machine and play just like one of us. So you have now opened this whole new avenue, man. That's a big thanks to you, to anybody else that comes after you and does something like this, crazy to think that, Brantley.
There's two things. I mean, for the first thing is obvious. Cowboy Slots really kind of is in a box of its own. We do live play. Yes, obviously we do live
Yeah, of
play.
course.
We do the same things, but there's a lot of aspects and elements of the channel where we don't do that. And the second big part to that is Cowboy Slots really paved the way for a lot more than people think. Because if you go back and you look, we can even use volatility as an example. We taught about volatility and stuff like that. Look at the dates on almost every single video that you can watch on the internet. Nobody even knew what it meant before Cowboy Slots came along. There was maybe a couple videos where somebody brought it up in an interview with somebody else or something like that, but there was never an actual real employee that stepped forward and said, no, this is what it means. This is how you can tell. These are all the aspects and elements to it. And now, today, 3 years later, every channel under the sun is using, oh, this is high volatile, this is low volatile. So we kind of changed that, but not just in the realm of slots, but now manufacturers and game makers are starting to list it on their website, which is crazy because that wasn't the case 3 years ago. Now, if you
Right.
go to, if you go to Light and Wonder, or if you go to IGT's website and you go to find the information on the game, it'll say like low, medium, high volatile bonus, whatever. That wasn't there 3 years ago.
No.
So Cowboy Slots, our goal has always been the same. My goal has always been the same. And that is that Cowboy Slots is the channel to bridge the gap between player and operator, because there's nobody else that can build that bridge. There's people out there that, I mean, now, again, Cowboy Slots did change a lot. We were definitely the first of something completely new. Prior to Cowboy Slots, there were channels out there that, you know, they would give tips or information, but it was all based on player perspective. And the big thing is that player perspective is wrong 8 out of 10 times. So you really can't utilize player perspective if you're trying to gain true and accurate information on how the game works. There was a lot of misinformation out there. There still is. But now, you know, there's some newer channels coming out that they're now trying to teach people about, oh, volatility and about things like that. But they're still not industry experts and they're still getting it wrong 8 out of 10 times. So that's why I say Cowboy Slots is really kind of in its own realm and its own unique box, because this is not just a hobby for me. I did not set out to create a YouTube channel. My goal was not to be a YouTube star by any stretch of the means. My experience and my skill level has always been in gaming and in the gaming industry and in slots. And that's what really led into all of this. So that came first and foremost. The YouTube part was secondary. So it's crazy, but Cowboy Slots really did change a lot. It changed more than people think. You know, even if people out there, even if they're watching and even if they're like, oh, I don't like Cowboy Slots or I don't like Brantley for some reason, you still have to acknowledge that Cowboy Slots completely changed the way other channels operate. It completely changed the way manufacturers view how players are connecting on this level. It completely changed a lot. And I think that has a lot to do. I mean, obviously, our growth reflects that, but that's a big thing that I think a lot of people really don't see many times.
Yeah, well, they're used to a world of just us slot channels playing slot machines. You know, people still aren't ready for you yet, and like the fact bombs that you drop all the time too. And like apparently it doesn't matter, man. You could give $1 million to each one of your subscribers. It'll piss somebody off and somebody will be mad
Oh
at you
yeah.
for some reason. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
and now you know that after being a creator for 3 years because of how fast you've grown. Obviously, with popularity comes hate for no friggin' reason
Oh
whatsoever,
yeah.
which is stupid. And I don't even want to get into it because it's so dumb. With your rapid growth and how big that you've become, what's been, obviously money comes with it, which is awesome. You are very now, as far as a creator goes, you know how to edit, you know how to do videos now. You're becoming more of a professional in that sense. So minus all that, what has been one of the most like rewarding things since you've started?
Honestly, the biggest reward is I love when I either run into somebody at the casino or I get a message or something like that, and somebody says, you know what, I've been listening and I've been following what you're saying. And even when they haven't won anything big yet, because we never guarantee that, they come to me and they say, I'm losing less money and I'm having a better time at the casino and I'm having more fun. And now I understand it. That to me is the biggest reward of all. I could have 1,000 negative comments of, just people just not understanding and being negative. But if I get one comment that's like, you know what, I didn't win a jackpot, but I still came home with something and I had a better time at the casino and I went and I ate lunch and my time spent at the casino was longer and I'm not losing as much money anymore. That to me is the biggest reward. And on a few occasions, not frequently, but on a few occasions, I have had people privately message me saying that I encourage them to seek help from problem gambling because they didn't know really where to turn. And that's something that we have incorporated into several videos we've done in the past. And we offer these resources on the website. And once in a blue moon, a couple times, I will get somebody that'll say, you know what, I use the resources that you put out there and it's really helped me. So thank you. That is the biggest gratification that I ever get. If I get one comment like that, all the other negative comments just melt away at that point. Because if out of 500,000 people, if I can help one person, and if one person listens, and if one person is having a better time, that made it all worth it right there. Because that's one person's life that we ended up making better as a channel.
That's what I always say, man. It's just one.
Yeah.
All it takes, you've changed the world if it was just one, and it couldn't be more. It couldn't be more of an underestimate because we know it's not one, right? Like, and that's massive, and that speaks volumes. That's very well said, and you know, a great thing to say when saying what's so rewarding about this. You know, you immediately, you know, put it right back onto your audience, which is extremely loyal. I mean, you go through any of your videos and read those comments, you see how much people absolutely love you, Brantley, because you are changing it. You change it in a different aspect. I was just bringing entertainment to the table. I was maybe saving, you know, a couple people some bucks. You are actually giving them, you know, solid advice when it comes to anything and how to budget, and that's just scratching the surface. Go check out Cowboy Slots. There are, you know, thousands. Do you know how many videos you have out there by any
Oh
chance?
gosh, probably close to 1,000 at this point.
There you go. Close to 1,000 videos out there. So we don't
Close to
need
a
to, you
thousand.
know, touch base. Go to it. Go check him out and subscribe. And I'm pretty sure that everybody that's watching this is. And I'm sure your audience is going to love this even more because, well, you know, we want to dive deep into Cowboy Slots. Now, you've sent me videos, you know, of your frontier and where you are and where you live. Now we're closing in on Halloween when we recorded this. What's it like by where you live?
Well, here's the thing. So I live in Wyoming. That's where our channel's based out of. Wyoming is the least populated state in the country.
For a
It's
reason.
has a smaller population than Alaska. All of our cities, all of our towns, like even our capital, like our biggest city, has less than a fourth of the population that a suburb of, say, Phoenix would have. So we have everything is very, very spread out. We only have one interstate that runs through the state, and it's at the very bottom. It's the I-80. Other than that, there's no other interstates. We do not have in the entire state. We do not have a major airport. We have airports, but half the time, you know, that's like one flight a day in, one flight a day out kind of deal. So living out here where I do, so you know, for me to even go to the grocery store, for example, for me to go to the grocery store, it's an all day event because
This
I
is
have to
good.
drive like 2 hours just to
This is
go, you
good.
know, yeah, just to go somewhere. It's an all day event. And what I think a lot of people don't realize, and this is why we only publish 2 full videos a week at the moment, but all of our videos we have to record in advance because it is very difficult to get out, and especially right now. So there's already snow on the ground. We already have about 6 inches of snow on the ground. It's covered everything. um,
Nuts.
in Wyoming, we also don't have the population to really truly support, you know, like any other state, you know, the roads would be constantly plowed and all of that. We have one road that comes in and out of our town, and the state will, it has like those railroad gates over the road, and they will just close the road. So in the winter time, we can't get out and travel anywhere. So you know, I know a lot of people, you know, recently we made a change because the closest casino really is going to be the casino in Windover. But that's still, it's 3.5 hours just to get there and 3.5 hours to get back. So that's a 7 hour drive. So we can't go every single day. We can't, you know, always provide, you know, we can't go live all the time, because that is a lot. And during the winter time, it's impossible to get out. For me to even fly anywhere, I have to go to Utah just to fly out, which is also like a 3 hour drive away to get to the airport. So we don't travel very much. So we do get requests a lot of like, when are you coming here? When are you coming here? When are you doing this? We can't do that. You know, we're not in the position to be able to do that. We get out when we can. Um, and sometimes it's last minute. And we do, like right now, I believe I'd have to talk to Ethan, who's our video editor, but I believe we have our content as of this day before Halloween. All of our content is pretty much pre-recorded through January. So, you know, but we have to do that because we can't just get out and go somewhere anytime. So it makes it difficult living out here. But yeah, snow's already on the ground. It does get to be -10 in the winter, sometimes higher. The roads do
You
close.
know it's higher because
So,
you sent me a
oh yeah,
picture. You sent me a picture one time. We had a northeast mayhem freeze going on, and I remember it being like -16 here or whatever it was. And I remember sending you a picture from me, and then you immediately respond back with your weather, and it was double. It was almost double. I think I'm serious.
yeah.
It was -26 or something crazy like that, Brantley, and that's normal stuff. And I hope everybody can appreciate the fact that as a creator and how big that you are and how you have to pump out content, quality, all that stuff, what it takes for all I got to do is drive 30 minutes to my main airport here, hop on any United flight to go to any state that easily and come back. People need to, appreciate you a little bit more for what it is you go through now, to keep this content going and to keep us all entertained and all that other stuff that goes with it. That's a lot just for groceries.
Oh
Think
yeah.
about what he said here, ladies and gentlemen. You're driving 2 minutes to your local grocery store while, Brantley has to go through hills and railroad tracks and people are trying to shut him down. And I'm very thankful because my last two trips that I traveled to, you were there for both times,
And
and
it's difficult.
obviously, yeah, man, it is. And the second day of the trip, you're drained from what you just went through just to get to what you had to go to, man. I mean, listen, I appreciate that as a fan of yours.
Yeah,
So
it's I think that's one thing. This is a topic that's come up kind of internally, and I know we're kind of going off topic a little bit, but still
that's
kind of on
why we're
topic.
here, babe.
I don't think people fully realize or understand how difficult running a large channel is. And especially when there is that pressure to get content, for example, we made a recent change on the channel. We used to go live every single Sunday from Wendover. We used to go live. Now it is a premiere video. We run a premiere every single Sunday. Why is that? It was costing me over $200 in diesel fuel every single week, 7 hours to go there. And then people were complaining that, oh, the Wi-Fi is weak and the quality's bad and stuff like that. It's like, that's not something we can help. But people wanted higher quality videos. And now with us getting into the winter, I'm not going to be able to go there every single week. And it was getting very, very tiring to be able to do that. And most of the time, obviously we're gambling, we're playing slots. Most of the time, it's operating at a loss and taking up all that time and energy, and plus the $200 in diesel fuel on top of it. So doing premieres just made more sense because now we can go, we don't have to worry about the weather. We don't have to worry about, is the road going to be open or not? Are people going to be disappointed if we have to keep canceling shows because of weather and stuff like that? We can keep the schedule rolling and keep everything running on time. So that's one of the changes that we had to make, especially going into the winter season. Now we could go back to that in this, in the summer, but right now with snow on the ground, it's just not possible, not feasible to do. Excuse me, not feasible to do. So, we have to alter and change a lot. We have to completely change the way the channel operates and I believe we're the only channel that has winter operations and summer operations because we have to completely change how everything gets done through the winter just so people have consistent content and just so when people wake up on when people wake up on Tuesday or Friday, they can expect to know that we're coming out with the full video. So we go through a lot of effort to ensure that the schedule still runs on time, and there's a lot that happens on the back end that people just don't get to see, and it is crazy how it works sometimes.
Yeah, man, it definitely is. So again, pros and cons is something I always ask, but now I feel like it's getting overplayed. However, Brantley, with you being in a different space, again, I'm not just, interviewing somebody that does the exact same thing that I do and just has different characteristics. You deal with a whole different world. So tell us, what are some of the pros and cons of that? Well, I mean, we got into the pros, so let's go into the cons of this space now.
Oh, okay, so the biggest con is this: gambling is extremely psychological. It is very psychological. A lot of these myths and superstitions and everything, they are deeply ingrained into people's mindset. And when somebody like myself, because again, Cowboy Slots was the first actual casino employee to come out and say something, everybody right off the bat assumes, no, 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 you're wrong because I know this and I've seen this. People can't grasp it. And the biggest thing that I would say is this: it's like, you know what, look, if you're not willing to open your mind and actually listen to people that have done this physically themselves, And I mean, we've had interviews with game designers, interviews with game makers. We've gone in depth into this. We've had multiple different experts come on. We've had other slot techs come on, and we all say the same uniform thing. But people still do not listen and do not grasp it. And I understand that, but it's funny because it is a known psychological thing. There is whole psychological studies on this. The world's best doctors and scientists have broken this down a million times. Our human brains have difficulty understanding certain things. Our human brains have confirmation bias. And a lot of times I'll come out with a video. It'll be an educational video. Fast stopping is a great example. I have not only explained, but I have interviewed the people that make the fast stopping happen and create the program for it. And I've explained this is how that feature works. And people will still come on and they'll say, no, 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 I know if I fast stop, I'm going to get this. And I know it changes it. It doesn't change it, dude.
Unbelievable,
Like,
man.
it doesn't change it. But like, they're so ingrained in their way of thinking. And the biggest thing I will say is this, you know, Cowboy Slots, one of the biggest reasons why Cowboy Slots is successful is because everybody came to Cowboy Slots with the same entry point, okay? But the people that are successful with it have opened their mind and they've started to change and adapt and they listen. Because again, we don't charge anything. I'm not in this to make money off of people. If I was, I'd charge for a class or a course, and that's not something that we do. So everything is available for free for you. Every resource is there. The only thing that the viewer has to do is listen and be receptive to it. And the biggest reason why Cowboy Slots is successful is because those out there that have listened and that are receptive to it are now more successful, and they're losing less money and they're having a better time in the casino, and they know and understand. And that speaks volumes. But I would say that is the biggest obstacle. I wouldn't really call it a con. I would say it's a big obstacle that people are just extremely hard-headed. And it's gotten to the point now, like, we have repeated and repeated the same information, and we put different examples on it. We put it in different lights. We put it in different ways for people to understand, and they cannot put two and two together. And that is probably the biggest thing that is the most difficult to achieve. And we still keep trying. We still keep trying to put the information out there. But it is extremely difficult. And I would have to say that is probably the biggest con, the biggest roadblock in all of this. So if that answers your question, I know it's a very
Answer,
long answer.
no, I answered it and then some. Again, you're also teaching us, a whole different side of the community and what else comes with it. And again, man, you're going to be, so you are somebody to look up to as a creator, somebody else that may have 20 years experience doing exactly what it is that you did, that may have, different, whatever the heck it is. And you're going to have to help that person,
Yeah.
achieve what it is. It'll just be more education out there for the people, as long as it's obviously, proper education and not
Right.
complete BS, because there are a lot of BSers out there. And
Oh,
again,
well,
yeah, we don't have to get it.
well, here's the thing. I'll
Hit
just
it.
say, I will just say this. So you mentioned it, so I'll say it.
Hit it.
You know, the best example I can come up with is this. If you want to learn, let's just say you want to learn about the operations of Delta Airlines. Let's just say that Delta Airlines. You want to learn about the operation of Delta Airlines. You want to learn how everything works. You want to know the ins, the outs, the truths, the details, and all of that. You have one channel that is a Delta Airlines captain who is current and who actually flies the planes. And they're sitting there with the manual and they're saying, this is the actual SOP, this is the procedure, this is what happens. And then you have a few other channels out there that are like, well, I've flown on Delta for 20 years as a passenger, and this is what I think. There is a massive difference between those two. Who are you going to listen to? And that is the best example that I can come up with, because that is something, we're seeing this a lot more. obviously, but that is the biggest thing that I would caution against, because here's the thing: a lot of some of these people out there, they do get the information correct, but they get it correct through copying, so to speak. And then the problem with that is they don't know the full operation. So when there's a follow-up that's needed, or when there's a question that's needed, that's when I notice that 8 times out of 10 they get it wrong, because they don't know how to follow up with it. We talk about volatility a lot. Volatility has a lot of different aspects. It's not just as simple as low, medium, high. Like, that's the simplification of it. The simplification of it is low, medium, high, but there's other aspects. I mean, it is a very, very colorful dynamic range. And then you also have to take into account, your budget, what budget you're bringing, what's appropriate for that level of volatility, stuff like that. And there's a lot of times when, and we're trying to do better ourselves to go in more depth without losing people, so to speak, because we have to, do it right, do it the right way. But I have seen a few videos out there where people are like, oh, this game is a low volatile game, and it's completely wrong. And it's completely wrong. Or that they're like, oh, this is a high volatile game, and then they use a different budget. And it's like, if you go to a high volatile game and you have a budget of $5,000, it's not going to be very high in volatility. That's going to actually lessen it, because your budget has a lot to do with that aspect. So there's a lot of times when I see other videos out there of people trying to explain it, and they're getting it wrong. And that's the thing that is, kind of a danger at that point, because there is so many elements and so many aspects. You can only simplify it so much. So you opened that can of worms. I just had to put that.
I love these can of worms, Brantley. I love them. I love
love your can of worms. Yeah, I'm
I
calling you a
do.
fisherman. You're just fishing for
That's it, man. I love fishing. I love fishing. But I've had so many conversations with you, that we've talked about so many things, and you just absolutely blow my mind with, everything that you call me about. You always call me with good news when something,
Oh,
a
yeah.
new milestone happens for you. I love celebrating that with you, and you give me a different aspect of looking at things when I go here, when I go there, play this. Hey, I saw you played this. Dude, you just taught me the whole Huff and Puff thing in Vegas. Remember where when you were doing all the scaling for
Oh,
the
yeah.
pay lines and stuff? And I'm like, I sat back and I'm like, oh man, like you should have realized that. And now I look at every machine like that. So when I see a new brand of something that came out with, now it has a wheel on it, I immediately think of you, and I immediately go back to that other one and go, what's different? Where are we getting robbed here? And that's all thanks to you, man.
You
Seriously.
know,
So
it's funny that you bring that up, because just yesterday we posted a video on the new Huff and Puff Money Mansions, and it was ridiculous how people completely took that video the wrong way. And this is what I say: a lot of people really struggle with putting two and two together and realizing that there is a multitude of facets and aspects. So obviously, the first video, the video you're referring to, we put together the comparisons between the original Huff and Puff, Huff and More Puff, and Huff and Even More Puff, about how Huff and Even More Puff, mathematically, you're at a disadvantage, because even when you get the Even More, the double screen feature, there's certain other things that are reduced in it. Your line pays are reduced, the number of hats are reduced, what the hats pays are reduced. So you're getting the feature more, but you're actually getting it less. And we'll explain that. But the video we came out with yesterday, Huff and Puff Money Mansions, mathematically, if you look at the pay table and you look at how the game plays, and if you sit down and were to do the math on it, it's actually not that bad. And we put that video out there yesterday, and I said, here's the pay table comparison, stuff like that, because we brought the pay table up. Funny story about that video. I'll sidetrack onto that later, but funny story about that video. We put the pay table up, and we said, so the pay table, even though this is a brand new version, they've actually brought back the higher line hits. So you are getting the bonus less. And yeah, the Money Mansion feature, and I even mentioned this in the video, it's a little boring and dry, because but it's no different than basically Top Dollar. You just don't get to cycle through 4 offers. It just pops it up there for you. So I get that feature is not as exciting. So you're losing that excitement element just a little bit. But the pay wise, mathematically, it's actually pretty good. And I don't just say that because we've won on the game. I say that by looking at the math and looking at the pay table. It's not that bad. But a lot of people commented it right away on the video, and they're saying, it's the worst version. And I remember one comment specifically of a viewer saying this is the absolute worst version ever. And I had replied and I had said, well, mathematically, it's not that bad. And their response was, well, I put $50 into it and I lost. Okay, well, $50 for any Huff and Puff is not a big budget at all. That is
No.
not a big. You're getting a couple, at best, a couple spins out of it. Like, you're
Yeah.
not getting to experience the whole game.
No. Unless you're
But
extremely lucky.
that kind of goes into the fact of there's a lot of elements to this. So you have to really kind of open your mind up, and you have to listen. You have to look at a lot of different aspects. Like, you can't judge it based on that. And if you're going to any Huff and Puff, even the original, and with $50, that's a bad deal to do. I mean, you could get lucky, you could, but that is not an appropriate budget for that game. So, but just again, that goes back to that con of trying to explain this to people. It's like you're only thinking, it's a lot of times people have blinders on, and it's very difficult to try to remove those blinders and say, okay, you're focusing on one thing, you got to look at all the aspects here. So, and in that video, I did not say that it was the best game in the world to play. the
Right.
title of the title of the video was, out of all the new versions of Huff and Puff, out of all the new versions, if you were going to play a new version of Huff and Puff, this is the best new version to play. But people didn't realize that about the video. And it was a fantastic video. It really was. But really quick side story, because I told you I'd come back to it. We always record with two cameras. So we have the front facing camera, and then we have the game camera. Well, our rig that has our light, our microphones, all of that is on the front facing camera. Well, for some reason on this video, and Cosmo is extremely loud to record in, and this was right smack dab on the middle of the floor. For some reason on this one, the drive corrupted the camera file, the front facing camera, and we lost the audio. So our mics went down. So we had to pull the audio from the other phone, and we had to put it through. We went through probably 4 versions of it, because the audio was so bad. Like, the very first version, you couldn't hear me at all. So we had to go in, and literally Ethan spent hours and hours and hours trying to, like, literally manually go in and pull out background noise the best we can and put filters on it just so you could hear me. That kind of ties into the aspects that people don't see, is it can sometimes take hours when something like that happens. Like, we had an issue that occurred with that file getting corrupted, and it took 12 24 hours just to correct it, to bring that video to the public, to make sure that it was still on time. So there's a lot of things that people don't see, but that's the sidetrack story to that. So yeah, that's the story about Huff and Puff. I'll stop there. You can ask your next question. I got to stop ranting.
I first time I played Money Mansion, I had a jackpot on it, 1206 fart noise, but it was
It's a good
it was
game.
it was cool, man. But again, I'm thinking about it because it's how I look at every single game is how is this game going to rob me and make me chase a bonus and all that stuff? Man, the bonuses were
Most slots
fruitful. They
will.
were coming
Yeah.
out. The guys are it was a fun experience, and I
Well,
would absolutely play it again.
and they did a great job on the graphics. So, like, as somebody who's in the industry and who's worked with slots, looking at all the aspects, like when I hear the sounds, the graphics, like, I can see the change in it. Like, they just did a phenomenal job with this particular game, like, graphics wise, sound wise. Like, it plays better. It's a little more fun to get the bonus with the little pigs that pop up and stuff like that. So again, multifaceted. There's a whole spectrum of things to look at. I do not just review games and put games on there based on whether I win or lose. That is one thing that, we've gotten comments on that, or, oh, you just like this game because you won on it. And that's not the case. I can give you a great example. Mo Mummy. Mo Mummy actually made the list of one of our best games of the year to play last year. It is a very well designed game. and Aristocrat had taken a new math model, and they had made it, because Aristocrat has always been a fan of the very hard, very difficult math model, and they lessened this and they changed the pay table a little bit and they made it to where it was a little bit more fruitful. We do not win all the time on Mo Mummy. And actually, we don't have very many videos of it. I think we have one video of it on the whole entire channel, but we put it on the best list, not because I win jackpots on it, because I don't, but because of the design of the game and because of just the generality of the funness, the excitement, the way the pay table is laid out, the potential being there, but still being obtainable. So we do not just rank games as best and worst based on me personally, if I've won on them or not. There are some games that I hated putting on the best list because I personally didn't like, but it was a good game. It was a good game. It was a good one to play. And it was good for people within the average budget of players in the United States. So that's what got it on that best list. So I think when we get comments of people saying, oh, well, you only rank games because they're good because you win on them, it's not the case. There's a lot of aspects we look at. And I think that's kind of going with the theme here of what we've been talking about is there's so many elements and there's so many aspects that you really can't just base it off of one, that people have a difficult time grasping because there are so many elements. And I understand that. But yeah, generally speaking. So another sidetrack.
That's right. I love your sidetracks. And that goes without saying, you know, when you're talking about those exact people, those are the same ones I feel like that are like, oh, that's the tightest place in the world wherever I play. Then the other half of the comments are, this is the greatest place in the world, you know, and it's
Yeah.
those people, those are the ones that are basing things off of wins and losses when it comes to anything. Like, and I found that out, you know, through becoming a creator and now consistently playing these slot machines. All of them have become hated for me where I used to have favorites because now when you play it so much, you obviously know those percentages go way down, except Pinball Double Diamond, which clearly I've crushed. And it's so funny that Cowboy Slots brings up Mo Mummy because I played Mo Mummy one time and I got a first spin. It was a 15-minute bonus or 10-minute bonus. It was
I remember
absolutely
that. I saw your
nuts, man.
video.
And that's not a game I play. I just happened to be at Hollywood. There was two of them. Happened to pick one out of the two. Got lucky there. Like, is Mo Mummy one of my favorite games? No, of course not. I don't ever want to play it again because I want it to go out like that. Like, let me like the game and say, oh yeah, I played that once. It was great.
Right.
You know, so those people need to have that same exact mindset, really, when it comes to that. I
You know,
mean,
it's difficult. And the one thing is, you know, I do understand it. I understand where people are coming from, and I understand the difficulty it is to grasp a lot of this stuff because, you know, as human beings, we base everything off of what's happened to us. Everything. It's kind of like, you know, there's a meme out there on the internet, and it's you know, it's like a bus going around a cliff, and there's one person and they're staring at the cliff and they're all like sad and depressed, and there's another person and they're staring out at the horizon and they're all happy taking pictures, and it's like, you know, basically life is your perception. So there's no, you know, I understand where people are coming from in that aspect, but it's a matter of, you know, using that meme as an example. It's like, just turn your head, just turn around one time. Like, what's it going to hurt you?
that
Like,
was a great
honestly,
example.
you know, and here's the thing. What is it going to hurt you? So if you're at the casino and you're like, I always lose, these machines are tight, these machines, where are you going to get how are you going to change that? Like, you have two options. You can listen to the truth and try to be like, oh, okay, I'll try it a few times and see how this is going to go. There's no charge. There's no charge. You're not being charged for it. You're not having to buy a class or do anything.
Right,
All you have to do
right.
is listen and try it. Or you can sit there and continue to stare at the cliff and pout. The choice is yours, you know.
Right.
But the thing is, it's like, I can't, you know, I can't, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, so to speak. So, you know, that's, again, it's a challenge, but at that point it's like, you know, hey, I've done everything I can on my part. I have provided you with all the resources. It is, at the end of the day, it is your responsibility to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And, you know, that's not something that I can assist with. I can provide the pieces, but you have to put the puzzle together. Um, because you have to build it with what's going to work for you, what's going to be best for you. There's a lot of times when I see people out there, and I've seen this working in the casino too, and it's very dangerous, where I see people that are like, oh, well, that person's always, which, you see this too. Everybody does. You see those videos of somebody walk in and they're like, here, I'm gonna stick $100 in
You
this
want me to
machine, and
finish this
then,
one for
you
you?
know
Yeah.
there's a jackpot. It's like, that is so freaking dangerous, man.
Very
It does
dangerous.
not happen like that. And here's the problem. As a as a creator, we know this, but as a lot of other people out there, they've been like, that's a little fishy. But there's still a huge number of people out there that, I've seen this working in the casino too, that they believe, like, I saw a lady once cash out her retirement to go do this, cashed her retirement out, and she lost, and she was crying, and it
That's
was the
horrible.
saddest thing that I have ever seen. And so that's why, like, every video that we do, we are very careful with our words. I am very careful with my words. Even on videos where we're like, okay, this is how I would recommend to get a jackpot. Every step of the way, it's like, if you are not comfortable or if you cannot proceed, you need to stop. Every step of the way. It's one of those things of, you have to be very careful, because there are some people that will take it the wrong way. And when I see videos of, it's like, if somebody's coming out with videos and it's like every other video is, I had $300 and I got a jackpot. Does that happen? Yes, it does happen. It has happened for me. I know it has happened for you. It has happened for a lot of slot players out there. Does it happen? Yes. But if you're posting a video like every single day, then it's going to start ingraining in people's mind that I can do that too. And
All I can do is play every day.
that's where the danger starts.
I agree
That's
with
where
you.
the danger starts. So, we try to combat that in our videos that we do. And we've even had, some commenters that would get upset, and they would say things, like, you shouldn't tell us what we should do with our money. And it's like, I'm not telling you what to do with your money, but I'm putting it out there that gambling is a dangerous thing. You're not going to make money playing slots. We say that. You're not, can you? Yes, you can, but you need to learn to take those wins and walk away with it, and push your luck only at the right time and only when you have the ability to do so. And there's some people that are like, they're, well, so and so always puts $100 in a machine and gets jackpot right away. It's like, well, so and so's only posting that. They probably tried it 30 times. So, man, it is a danger to be careful of. It really is. And that's, like, we try to, responsible gambling is really at our core. It's one of our channel values. So when we, even when we're recording live, we show plenty of losses. Hell, most of our videos are losses
Yeah, of
when you
course.
look at them.
Right.
I mean, we just went on like 3 or 4 months where I think every single video we posted was a loss, except for maybe like 2 or 3 of them.
It's rough.
And it does happen, but people do need to see that. People do need to see that that happens. And yeah, it's okay, fisherman, you've opened another can.
You like that one? You like what I did there? You even realize
Yeah,
it. That's
I
how
like
fish
that
get
one.
caught. They didn't realize it.
Yeah, you're fishing. You're fishing.
That was again, man, a great. Listen, just keep doing what you're doing, and you keep growing those numbers. You are the one that can actually do a lot more than I can. Promoted in all my videos. I really try to hammer the common sense factor when it does come to anything. And I always say, watch me. Don't even just stay on
Yeah,
your couch. Watch my misery here, or the once in a blue that decides to come out. Enjoy the enjoyment with me, but don't think, I try to bash it more than anything. Like when a bonus comes out, or
yeah,
when I do good on a session, I go, relax, ladies and gentlemen, and there's, like you said, there's more losing sessions
hmm,
than winning sessions. So it's very easy to clip a loss onto a winning session and provide that in the entire video so we can see, come on, this is realistic, guys.
yeah.
Now, like, use that common sense factor.
You
All
know,
the
and
superstition too. That's crazy stuff to me. But if that lets you have fun and you realize that, this isn't going to help me win, you're doing it for fun, then we're on the right path,
Yeah.
to righteousness.
Which, I got to give a big shout out and props to Vegas Matt. Um, I watch Vegas Matt's videos every day, and I've met him. I've met EJ. We did a video together. He's an awesome guy. But in almost every single one of his videos, if you watch to the very end, he always does his recaps. If you watch to the very end, he will usually always include a responsible gambling message and tell people, don't do this. Watch it for, watch me do it. Don't do this. And I think that needs to be something, I'm proud of him for that. I give him props for doing that. I think that is an extremely noble and responsible thing to do. And I wish a lot more creators would put the responsibility message out there, because as content creators, you have to always keep in mind the people, like everybody out there watching. And a lot of times there are a lot of people out there, and working in the casino, this, there are a lot of people out there that they take this very seriously. Like even if you make a joke, or we look at the volume thing was started as a joke, oh, turn the volume up for better odds. There are people out there that honestly believe it as fact, and
Yes,
that was started as a joke.
I read the
So
comments. It's bad.
as a creator, you have to be very cautious about what you're saying, because people will run with it and they will think it as fact and true. And that's, again, we've talked a lot of dangers, but that's another one to be mindful of.
And I read those comments too, like with the volume, and like there was at one point where I remember arguing with somebody on a live stream, and I was like, "Wait, these people are serious? I thought this was a joke," and like I'm like,
Yeah, it is.
"What
It
the
is,
heck is going
and it's,
on here?"
you can say something in good fun, and I mean, we all do this because we want to make the videos fun and exciting,
Of
and especially, like,
course.
we've all had those days as creators. This too, as creators, we're at the casino and maybe you're just having a great time, you're with your friends, and or you're with other content creators, and we might joke around and be like, oh, let's turn up the volume and let's all that. But unfortunately, you always have to follow up with, it's just a joke, guys.
Yeah, you do.
Like, you always have to follow that up. Most people will understand it, but a lot of people don't. And that's
Yeah.
the thing that, because again, it has led to a whole volume of misunderstanding about how machines work. And it's just another thing.
And you keep fighting for that, and combating that. Like I said, you have the numbers, the rights to trend and all that stuff, because all of those big trending videos and all the ones that get the millions of views is that person standing in front of the thing going, yeah, just hit the Mega Million jackpot and make a whatever, and it's like that's what most people see, when in reality, if they just dove deeper in the community, they could see what the reality is when it comes to this, because it definitely
You're
is
right.
dangerous, Brandley. And thank you for that message. Like, that's very good. Responsible gambling. Don't ever stop promoting it. I wish more creators did it as well. I'm with you on that boat. And they should see, listen, that name influencer goes a long ways. It has its bads, just like it has its goods. So you have to take, advantage of that and use your positive knowledge that you can as much as possible, way more than the bad. So you're doing the right thing. You're crushing it. You keep doing what you're doing. Let's get out of negative town. What's one of your favorite places to visit casino wise?
Oh man. So here's the thing with me personally, and I've said this, actually, we did a video on it, believe it or not.
Check out that video.
I am not I am a fan of small mom and pop casinos, like the small town casinos out in the middle of nowhere. Personally, for me, I don't enjoy Vegas very much. I don't.
I don't either.
I go to Vegas if I have to. But like, I don't
Same.
go to Vegas for vacation.
Me
I
neither.
don't go to Vegas for, and yes, like Vegas is an easy destination for almost everybody to get to, except for me. It's like an easy destination for everybody to get to, but I don't like Vegas. I don't like the crowd. Like, I'm very much not a crowd person. Typically, when we go out to record our videos, I will wake up most of the time. What we do is we wake up at about 3:30 in the morning.
What?
We drive, we'll drive out to the casino and we will record, like, we will be done by 10 a.m. And then we eat lunch and then we come home. I don't like the crowds very much. So for me, personal casinos that I like to go to is I do like to go to the smaller, quieter casinos, and I like to go when even those are in their most quiet times. And it's funny because we get comments a lot. They're like, why is nobody else in the casino? It's because I picked the slowest day at the slowest time when nobody was there, like skeleton crew. Like that's when I pick to go because I like having my pick of machines and I like to just be able to relax. Um, so when I go places, it's normally places to like the Wendover Nugget in the middle of the week when at the early morning hours, or someplace like the Shoshone Rose here in Wyoming, or smaller casinos that are way off the beaten path. That's where I like to go.
Okay, so then where's a place you haven't been yet that you would love to go or that you always wanted to go
Ooh,
to?
I got one for you on this
Let's
one.
hear
I
it.
actually have
He's
I
ready for
actually have
this
the
one.
answer. I am ready for this one because I hope they're watching, or if there's somebody out there that's watching and you are in this area, you need to help me out and go talk to some of these casinos because I have tried to reach out to them for over a year and a half and they don't respond. And we're a pretty big channel. I have been trying for a year and a half to get to Deadwood. I've never been to Deadwood, but
Come
I
on,
want to
Deadwood.
go. But I want to go, and I'm like, because it's actually not that far. I mean, it's drivable.
Hmm.
It's like an 8 or 9 hour
Oh
drive,
my
but
God.
I mean, that's the same distance. That's what it takes for me to get to Las Vegas. So
Good comparison.
good comparison. I've always wanted to go to Deadwood. I've never been. It is someplace that I have been wanting to go. And I think we have sent out emails and phone calls and everything to probably like every casino out there. And none of them have responded. And it's hard because as a creator, we can't just walk in the door and start filming. We
Right.
can't. Most casinos have policies against it. Most casinos have a procedure. They have a policy. They've got something in place. So you have to get your ducks in a row. And especially for me, it's not like I'm popping down the road for 20 minutes. It's a big journey to do, especially during winter time. Like that's going through mountains and closed roads and all of that just to get there. So I'm not going to, on my own free will and merit, just drive out there to talk to them. So yeah, Deadwood, to answer your question.
Deadwood, get your act together, right? And get the cowboy in there and he'll come to you 9, 8, 9 hours. That's not around the corner. A lot of creators, come on. No, we don't have to go through that. For me to travel 9 hours though, no joke, 8, 9 hours ish. Closing in on that is if I fly to San Francisco and drive up to Grayton, which I love the people at Great, and I would love to do that again, just to mention them and shout them out. So and that's like this. I'm like this after that one. You're talking time zone change and all that stuff. I'm all screwed up apparently, and that's why when we were at Durango in June when you were there, I was downstairs at 4:15 in the morning. I was saying it in my videos, and it was just there's nobody around.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's gone, but I love that. I can be myself. I can be a little bit louder. I'm not disturbing anybody left or right. And I can really enjoy, the casino. I really wanted to try that machine out. So I sit there. I'm not going to bother them. Not at
Yeah.
4:15 in the morning, my friend. So yeah, just completely pushing up daisies at that point. Oh, forget about it. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day because we did have some good time. Whenever I'm with you, we usually have a good time. Even if we have
Oh
limited
yeah.
time, we always have a good time and fantastic conversation. I remember
Always.
we were hanging out at Durango. I think it was late at night. I don't remember much of that trip because of the sleep deprivation as well as the alcohol. But I remember sitting next to you. I don't remember what time, and we were just playing whatever the heck it was next to each other,
Oh
just
yeah.
talking, man,
I got a
BS. And
jackpot on that machine
that's
randomly.
right, you did. And
I didn't even
hold on,
know.
because I'm good luck for you.
You
Then
are.
wherever we were, I believe the next time, or maybe it was the time before, maybe it was that trip, was when we were playing the poker at the bar.
Oh
Remember, you hit a
yeah.
jackpot there too. Remember that? It was like
Yeah.
that was a nice jackpot too. That wasn't like some little. Maybe I'm the good luck charm. You ever think about that, Cowboy? Maybe I'm the good luck charm,
Maybe,
man.
maybe we should just start playing together.
I'm perfectly fine with that. As I shared going back 2 years ago at G2E, maybe it was a year ago, and we were playing with each other at the Cosmo next to each other, pinball, whatever it was. And I remember just pulling out my phone just for fun because you were on the bonus game, man. The people loved seeing us together. It was awesome. It really
Oh
was a
yeah,
good
it was
reel
a
for
good time.
me. Yeah, and it wasn't anything special. I think we got a crap offer too. I think it was a crap offer. You were just, ha happen to be playing, having a good time, and it goes to show, man. See what your name does just for that, for a video of mine. They loved it because, like you said, I was in your algorithm. Stacy was in your algorithm. I'm sure the people that watched Stacy as well as myself, when you came into the scene, boom, you popped into their algorithm and you took it and obviously ran with it, man. It went a whole different direction as well as stayed in our direction. And again, you're just making this space completely better for creators, audience, people in general. And, I hope it goes to the sky. I mean,
Well,
it's headed
thank
there,
you.
man. It is. It's heading there, and you'll be, you are a foundation, you are a pillar of this community. Here the dog. Dog's getting upset with me. That's my bell to let me know you've done this for way too long so far. But you're not going anywhere yet, Cowboy, because I still got some more for you.
Ask
So we
away.
covered that was a great, where to go because I've never been to Deadwood either, and that would be cool if we could set up a trip, but I don't think it's
It
easy for
looks
me to
so
get to
it
Deadwood.
looks so cool, and I
I would
just
love
want
to
to
go
go
there,
there.
man.
I want to go there, and maybe at some point, probably not now because it's already snowing, but maybe some point in the
Forget
summer
it.
I'll drive out there. I don't know, but man, I would love to get something in place before driving all the way out there, and yeah.
Cowboy, what the future hold for you? Is there anything that you're working on or going into, or you have something in your mind that you want to touch on within like the next year for Cowboy Slots?
Yeah, there is. So one thing that Cowboy Slots does, I think people are starting to get used to it now, but every single year, twice a year actually, in November, which is coming up in just a couple of days, November and in February, we always make two big announcements. So February is our anniversary. We'll come out with a kind of like a keynote style video of what's next. And in November is when we usually start introducing a new product or something new. Um, every year, Cowboy Slots kind of goes through this metamorphosis. Because the thing is, and this is actually good advice to any creator out there watching, any creator, whether you're slots or not, any creator, change it up at least once a year. Change it up because the thing is people get bored of the dry. They get bored of the same thing. They get bored of, you can only do the same thing for so long. We always have incorporated educational aspects into everything we do, but every single year we do it a little bit differently. um, this year we're coming out with something really big, that's going to again revolutionize um, this space. So I don't want to say that what it is yet because I want you to wait for the keynote to come out. But we always do, every single keynote that we give, we always do drop a little Easter egg hint in the thumbnail. So
Okay.
I believe like the first year we announced our website that we were going to do it differently. We were going to open up forums and chat, because a lot of people out there use Discord and stuff like that, which Discord is a great platform. It really is. But we wanted to do something in house that we had control over, the whole space to really make it great and to tailor it to what people really wanted. So we built our own. So rather than relying on Discord, we built our own. Um, that was the first big announcement. The second one is we opened the zone, the Cowboy Slot Zone at the Shoshone Rose Casino. This year, we're coming out with something else. So it's always a big milestone of something new. But we always continually change it up. We do something new. Even our editor Ethan, he's always working on the next big idea for editing, like what are people going to like, kind of thing. So we started implementing dual camera probably 2 years ago. And then we're doing a new thing now where anytime we're recording an Ainsworth game, we actually incorporate a triple camera. So we actually have a separate camera window that is just stagnated on the progressives. So as people are watching, they can see the progressive numbers move. So we're the first channel to ever do a triple camera. So we've started doing that. So there's a lot of other things and we continue to play with it. But yes, there is a big change, another big change coming out later this year.
Awesome. Well, I'm gonna get 4 cameras. How's that sound, pal?
There you go.
And then we're gonna go
Go
to
for
war.
four.
I wouldn't know what to do with a second camera when I have somebody with me and they want to record with me, and they have the tripod or whatever. I start getting all nervous because I can't handle everything that you just said. I get anxiety, agita. It's bad. I need somebody else. I need Ethan. You know what? I'm gonna get Ethan. How about that? Does Ethan like me? Does Ethan like
he
me? I'm a
he he
lot to
he
deal
does
with.
he does like you. I will say this, that this is actually something that I'm very proud of. We've gotten to the point now. I said we have Cowboy Slots is, um, you know, it's not just a channel. So Cowboy Slots is actually a brand under my corporation. So I don't just have an LLC; I have a corporation, and Cowboy Slots is one brand under that corporation. And we now have 6 people working for the Cowboy Slots brand, and we just announced this is an internal thing. But we just announced, about a month ago, I sent out an email to all the employees that I'm now providing health insurance and 401k covered
Look at
to.
that.
So it's like, so now, Ethan's going to have, health insurance and stuff like that. And that's something I'm really proud to offer, because, it's not just me that's sharing in this movement and this momentum. Like, I'm able to provide other people, you know I'm able to provide for other people's, living and their well-being and stuff like that, and I'm very proud of that. So yeah, November 1st is when the employees can start to enroll, and they're getting health, vision, and dental 401k options for working for the Cowboy Slots brand now. And that's something that I think is really cool.
I do too, man. I think that's awesome because touching back on everything we were talking about with changing the audience and changing a person's life and stuff like that, there you go. There's a whole nother there's a whole nother avenue that you just opened up to change somebody's life in a completely different way that you definitely weren't thinking about. When,
Right.
3 years ago, you were just getting it started. The numbers are going nuts. Who would have known you had a staff one day? You have your own, like you said, you compared it to Discord. You have your complete own platform. It's amazing, Cowboy. You keep doing what you're doing, and I'm having a lot of fun with you, as
I,
far as this
I
goes.
appreciate it.
Now let's have some real fun. You ready? All right. What's something?
Okay.
I didn't even let you answer. I didn't care. So I was just going to go into it. What's something that you can share with me today that you have not shared with your audience yet, as of yet, until right now?
Ooh, well, I share most things with my audience. I really do. Now we do have, so Cowboy Slots, obviously we have the member program, which is optional to participate in, but the members do get a bonus live stream every single week, which is actually tonight. And in the member show, we kind of sit and we just talk about everything. Not even just casino stuff, but personal stuff as well. Um, the members know that I am actually, which we will find out in now less than a week. Um, I am running for office, and I passed the primary election, and now I am on the general election ballot. And right now I am leading in the polls. So there is a possibility that in 6 days I get elected into office, which would actually be the first time that a YouTuber has ever successfully been elected to office. So there's that. The members know about that. Um, so that'll be kind of interesting to see, but I think most of the general viewership doesn't know that, because that's something that's kind of interesting and unique, because we do have a separation. I feel comfortable telling you here, but on the Cowboy Slot channel, we want everybody, everybody is here for slots, so we keep all the major topics, all the hot points out of the equation. So it's all about slots on Cowboy Slots. So we don't keep, we don't mix anything else into that. But that's one thing that I think most people don't know.
There you go. And thank you for sharing that with us. Good luck with all of that. We're going to call you General Cowboy or something along those lines. I wish you the best. I wish I could help in some way. If there's anything, I'm sure you would have told me that by now, but if there's anything that I can do to help that process, and go nuts for you, man, I'll have all my fans right in. I'll go head over to Cowboy Slots channel. You go vote for the Cowboy. And I do have to say, just wrapping back to that before we wrap this up, is you do keep it very clean on your channel.
We do.
You do not see it going far off, at all on stupid tangents that we see as creators all the time because we missed this comment or we missed that comment or this person hates that person comment. You keep it very clean. Like I said, you go through your comments, man. It is And it is just people just appreciating what you do and loving you and everything. And that's why, look, you just unlocked a whole, we're talking about avenue, all these different avenues that you've gone down. Let's go back to 3 years ago. You ever think you'd be running for
Hmm.
office, Brantley? Like,
Never,
come on, man. And this
never.
avenue connected to that avenue. And speaking of avenues connecting, do you know what really makes me happy? This made me smile before I almost exploded.
What's that?
Interstate 80, Route 80, whatever the hell it's called, is 4 minutes from my house. So that's
Hey,
easy.
if you
Come
get on
on
80,
down, Brantley. No, you know what? Don't come here. It stinks over
you
here.
can get on 80 and come on this way,
So
and that's
it was that easy. That's like 100-hour ride, probably. Do you have any idea? Can you do that? Can you look that up somehow?
yes,
Right now,
actually.
I wish I
So
had a
I
lookup
have
person. You know?
I've driven to, because I have a lot of family in Indiana, and there was a funeral that I had to attend to like 2 years ago, and I drove from here back to Indiana, and
What was that?
it was about a 2 day drive.
Hold on, we're
So
finding this out right now.
for you, it'd be, maybe a little bit longer of a 2 day drive. I
No,
would
we're finding out. We're
agree.
finding out. What's your well, no, I can't even ask you what's your local casino because it's like 2 hours away. Is it based
The
on what you said?
closest, you know what? Honestly, the closest major city, well, for you, let's see, what
Well,
would be the
let's
next
say I
stop on the
drive
80?
in. I drive in on 80.
Rock
Where am I going?
Springs. Look up
Rocks.
Rock Springs, Wyoming, because that
Guys,
would
we
be
are
where
doing
you would
this live.
turn off. Where you would once you get to
Oh,
Rock Springs,
jeez.
you would turn off, and then you would start heading north to towards Yellowstone. So that's where I'm at.
It doesn't even. Oh yeah, there it is. This is gonna be brutal. Watch this, guys. We're doing this live right now. My phone isn't even reading this out. So okay, so this isn't fair because obviously with a Google Maps or whatever maps you do, it's just giving you the driving. So it says 1 day and 4 hours, but that's not including. That's not
That'd be if you
including.
drove straight through. So
Yeah,
28
that
hours.
means that means if I was a robot and I was able to drive through without stopping for sleep and eating and food. So 1 day and 4 hours, this says, Brantley. That is absolutely nuts. One day, maybe when I want to go, you know what else it doesn't count? All the casino stops because I
Oh
understand.
yeah.
Obviously, if I'm driving through and I see, oh, look at this. Here's this place in Iowa, which is another day away. Like it's a pretty straight shot though, man. I got to admit, it's a straight
Pretty
shot
straight shot.
because of 80. Wow, we've never covered that. Well, I mean, why would it? Like, why would I randomly say, "Hey, does 80 come through
Right?
Wyoming?" I
Yeah.
wouldn't think it
It's
was even close to you because of what you told me you deal with, just having to go for groceries or
well,
something
and this
like
is,
that.
this kind of ties back into what we talked about earlier in the show, which is where, we get requests all the time of, do you come out to Atlantic City often, or
No,
when are you coming out to,
Route 80.
Missouri or whatever? And it's like 28-hour drive. No, I'm not going out there.
Well, is it like, yeah, what
No,
are we doing? What are we doing
no,
here, ladies and gentlemen? Like, right? We have to realize that, Brantley.
it's
I can,
difficult. It's
I can't
difficult.
believe what you go through just to do your normal routines and then to appreciate you as a creator to see what you go through when you have to travel to a place that you really don't like that much too because Vegas would probably be like you said you go there to do something but there's 287 casinos. I don't know what the number is. You probably know what the number is, don't you? How many
I
casinos
don't
are in Vegas? You
actually.
don't? I'm not gonna look
I
that up.
don't.
We're gonna leave that for when I hire a third person to look up stuff for me because just finding Rock Springs Wyoming was a problem for my phone. But Brantley, listen to me, man. Seriously, in a closing statement, you are a severe pillar of this community because of the road that you just opened for other creators who maybe have experience in the casinos and they don't want to play slots. You really did open an avenue of people with tips and tricks and techniques. And I obviously say that in the professional, factual way, not the tips and tricks of I pull out my card, I throw it in the air, I spin
Right.
around in a circle. Actual stuff that people need to be on the receiving end of as creators, as an audience. You have an incredible loyal audience. You have an incredible following. I can't wait to see these numbers double in what I hope to be less than a year, and we're doing this again. And I'm saying, I can't believe you have over 1 million followers on every single, platform. And that's the point I want you to get to, man. I couldn't be happier for you. I love this. This is awesome. And I watch your videos more than I watch my videos. Does that make any sense? Does that make any sense?
Well,
I
thank
hate
you.
it. First of all, I hate myself.
Thank you.
Did something just fall in the background, or was that just a reflection off the roulette table? Well, I have to go back. I can't wait to see now. I want my people to. Did anything look
No,
out of place? That might just be me because I'm a complete wackadoo
Nothing,
too. I might have just
nothing
turned my
fell.
head slightly.
Maybe I bumped something. I don't know.
No, it looked like something fell from the background there. Brantley, don't listen to me. We're gonna review the tape and go back to it, and Slots fan can circle it. Right by the
Okay.
Cowboy Slots logo right there, which is awesome.
Oh
By the
yeah,
way. Look
yeah.
at that thing.
It's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
It's a neon
Look at this.
sign.
Look at this, on and off. They do the clapper stuff. That's an incredible room, by the way. That it really is.
Thank
I don't
you.
know why we didn't talk
There's
about
actually
that.
more. There's more. Well, I've got pinball over here off camera, and then there's Thunder Cash, Eagle Bucks, Mustang Money, all of that right there. I've got blackjack over there, and
That's
then on
awesome.
that side, I've got Ultimate X Poker and stuff. So you're only seeing one side.
We're going on a tour.
You're only seeing one side, but
a Cowboy tour. Oh no, I thought you were talking. We believe you. For anybody to not believe you, obviously you've done the tour. He's gonna do it.
Pinball.
There it is. Pinball, ladies and gentlemen.
Ainsworth, other
Look
crap.
at this.
There's a light in the way.
There's the light coming in from the
well,
snow.
I've got lights. I've got lights around.
Oh,
here,
that's a light? I thought that was a window for outside.
No.
Okay.
No, there is a window over on that side, but no,
there
that's one of the lights for the show.
There you go. Brantley. Hold on, I think I just saw it again. Do you have an animal? Is there an animal? Do you have a dog or anything? Or a cat?
I have dogs. I have a cat. I don't know.
Maybe it was a dog that walked. Did a dog walk by? Is that possible?
Can the dogs are outside. The dogs are outside.
Never mind. Never mind, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to skip this completely. But I'm going to say this.
Circle it if you see it.
So the day started again with completely like I didn't think the interview was going to happen. I'm like, oh my God, technical difficulties. This platform absolutely stinks, and we figured it out thanks to you being a professional. Where I would have talked to some other creator who maybe didn't know, and they would have been like, we'll reschedule for another day. So thank you for your professional input today. And as always, Brantley, I do appreciate you. I'm a fan of yours. I've told you that. I look up to you now as a creator. Your numbers have exploded. I can't wait to watch them double. Thank you for your time today, man, because I know how busy of a man you are and how many things you have to do. I really appreciate you, and I hope I hold you close to my heart. I do consider you a very close friend of mine. And thank you, man. Just thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. All the fans will. Slots fan will appreciate it. Their numbers are going to move from this. Brantley, again, just another thing that you bring to the table. So thanks, man. I really appreciate it. Closing statement for the people. I've never let anybody do that. You got a closing statement? Oh, geez. Give it to them. Hit them.
Oh man, I'm trying to think. I would just say play responsibly and just keep your mind open. Keep your mind open, play responsibly.
Other side of the bus.
No, there's no other side of the bus.
Go look at the other view.
There's no harm, no foul to just close this, open this, and try it. There's no harm, no foul in doing that. If you do it responsibly and you do it the right way, and you try to, again, piece together that puzzle, there's no harm, no foul.
No harm, no foul.
Biggest thing, other than that, have fun.
Well said, Brantley.
Slots are fun. Slots are meant to be fun. They're meant to be entertainment. They're not meant to be a lifeline moneymaker.
Nope.
They are meant to be entertainment. You can have better entertainment if you do it right, play your cards right, so to speak. But you can have better entertainment. But they are made to be entertainment. So
correct. Well said, Brantley. Well said.
Don't think that you can run out and start living your life off of slot machines.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. I've told you that millions of times, especially if you watch my video. So with all of that in conclusion, thank you, Cowboy. Check out Cowboy Slots, which I'm sure you have already. But if you haven't, you head over to Cowboy Slots on every single damn platform, and you go follow him, subscribe, tell him this is where you saw him. If you happen to be the one that for some reason doesn't know he exists, please tell him that we sent you. Check out Slots Fan, check out the NJ Slot Guy, ladies and gentlemen, and I will have some more videos for you soon. Thank you, guys.